Welcome, Tap, Edit, Go. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Thank you for being on the Scrunch Creator Economy Show.
I'm very, very excited to be here. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, we've been chatting before, but I'm very excited to get into more conversation.
I'm just excited. You're the first guest I've had that has a gin and tonic. So I'm pretty excited about that. You've made my day already and we haven't even started talking.
Well, during COVID, I got through my COVID phase for just cocktail making. That's literally everyone went like gym fanatics. I put on kilos because I just made too many cocktails every single night. Experimented. It's way too fun. But gin and tonic always goes down well for a podcast. So
I feel like if you didn't put weight on during COVID, you weren't doing it right.
You weren't doing COVID right.
Yeah, that's
a good
it.
point.
Well, why don't we start off with a bit of history? So let's, so our audience, brands, agencies, marketers, creators, let's tell them how you got here. So what did you do leading up to starting Tap, Edit, Go?
Well, it's been a kind of a weird journey. It started very accidental, but
Excellent.
I've been a filmmaker pretty much my entire life. I've had odd jobs here and there when I was a young kid, but I started filmmaking when I was 16, and I started making money from videos when I was 17, doing wedding videos, which I'll never do again because that was just kind of explosion in the head.
I don't know how you would deal with brides,
Oh,
seriously.
this was also back in the days of DVDs where we had to like produce DVD after DVD after, because the package was like 25 DVDs. And during high school, I wasn't studying because I was just making DVDs the whole time. And my mum, still to this day, I rub this in her face. She said, "You'll never make a career out of filmmaking. Stop and start studying." And I'm like,
I'll show you, Mum.
I'll show you. I'll show you.
Awesome.
So, yeah, my mum's amazing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just rubbing her in her face. But I basically went from there, and I did everything in the film industry. I worked for nonprofits and did documentaries overseas. I worked as a music tour manager, doing media on the side as well, capturing videos for them. I worked in the TV industry and the film industry. I've done pretty much everything. But I realized I hated doing all the corporate stuff. I hated like the politics and the money side. So I started, when YouTube first started, we started kind of doing business videos. We started just realizing businesses have an opportunity to be digital online. We started making business documentaries, telling people stories, because that's what people wanted to hear back then. And now we've just kind of moved into a form, and I still run production companies, like Small Town Media is another company we have. And we still make business videos, little video montages, because people don't really care about the audio side these days. They just want a visual representation of a business. But Tap Edit Go started really weirdly. It actually started with a real estate agent that said he wanted to make heaps of social media videos, and he wanted me to pay, he only had $600. And our videos start at $2,500 and go up from there. And we were like, yeah, we can't do 6 videos for $600. That's just not our price line. But I said, because smartphones were getting good, I think we were at iPhone 6 at this point when he asked me, and I was like, how about I teach you how to shoot videos on your own phone? And we can even just put some music. I'll show you how to put music on. And we did that. And then from there, we got like 15 phone calls within 2 weeks at our production company we were running then, going, "Hey, we saw what you did for Jared. Can you teach us how to do that?" And we're like, okay. And I started a class. And then basically we realized that more and more people were asking, "Hey, we do love professional videos, and we know that there's a space for professional videos, but we want to just make some short form content, and we don't have the budget, $100,000 a year, to get someone to put a video on social media for us once a week." And this is going back like 5 years ago, and it's almost like a video a day now on social media. But and I
Much to my dismay.
Yeah, it's a whole space. But I feel like it's evolved into something different. And like even on Reels and TikToks these days, we've realized that people don't even like professional videos because they feel like a professional video sells them something.
Yeah.
Where organic videos don't. Like people making it on the smartphones, vertical video really justifies. So everyone's got opinions about videos, but I just say ride the wave and figure out where everything's going. If people are watching it and they're liking it, it works. So we think smartphone videos are pretty amazing for what they do. I travel full time for work. I don't have any house. I don't live anywhere. I travel overseas. After COVID, I've been overseas twice since COVID, which has been awesome.
That's
Um,
amazing. Yes.
yes, as soon as the borders opened up, I
Like
got
I'm
out.
out. I'm out of here.
Like, piss off, I'm going. I just
So
didn't want to
good.
do the 2 weeks quarantine coming back. That was the only problem.
Mm,
Um, so I do travel videos on my smartphone. I never take my professional camera unless I'm doing street photography. But I
yep.
don't, if I'm not getting paid to make videos, I will make smartphone videos because I don't feel like I'm actually working. And that's
Yeah.
why I make them.
Awesome.
So that's how that whole form started. And we basically did full day workshops and we would teach people in one day. And it was mainly small businesses how to make, shoot and edit on their phones. We made it very practical and we had like, they would have to walk away making their video, their very first video on the day. We'd
Yep.
play a game, they'd all film the game, and then they'd sit down for an hour and actually edit the video. So people realized sometimes you can't really make a video in an hour, which freaked a lot of
Yes.
people out. But that was, it was a
Part
crash
of the
course.
experience.
Exactly. It was a crash course with a lot of information and showing you how to make those videos, which was cool.
That's so cool. So is it still like full day workshops or is the
Well,
format different?
during COVID, we kind of did a standstill, mainly because I'm a full extrovert. I was doing heaps of online courses, as everyone was that were doing
Mm,
workshops. We did heaps of online courses, and everyone was paying for it. It was making good money, but I
mm,
was getting severely kind of depressed. I'm not a depressed person, but I was getting upset when I was
mm.
hanging up Zoom calls on a complete high from finishing a workshop, and I was sitting in a room by myself, and I was just like, "Oh,
This sucks.
it sucks." So we kind of
Yeah.
put a standstill on it, and we're evolving the business now. So we're still doing one day workshops, and we're doing a run later this year, probably started next year. We still
Mm,
waited for the whole COVID thing just to be over,
yeah.
completely over, and then started vamping up. But we're evolving our business into also online training for short form content. We realize that people can't do a full day online.
Yeah.
They just want small lines. And a lot of people want specific videos, how to make a specific reel, how to make this. And can't tell
Yeah.
you too much, but we've got things in the woodworks of little tiny tutorials on specific stuff after learning the basics of filmmaking. So yeah, we're still going and we're still around, but we did make a couple of other businesses during COVID just because I got bored, which is another thing.
Sounds like the plight of every startup founder.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
I
know,
had a day off. I might start a new business.
you get bored and you want to validate something. You've got this cool idea, and everyone has ideas in business, and I love
Mm,
that people do. But an idea is an idea. It's
yeah.
worth nothing until you actually validate it. So I
Yes.
love validating businesses and making sure people are willing to pay for it. So that's
Yes.
kind of what I did during COVID, and it's some of those businesses have taken off and grown their own legs.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah,
So tell me, so obviously tap, edit, go, we're talking video here.
yeah.
Why video? Like, I was just got used to Instagram being pretty pictures and now I've got to make videos. Why video?
Well, it's yeah, totally, and it's a great question because people don't understand this very well. I believe videos is just a different medium because
Mm, mm,
ever since the dawn of existence, it pretty much they can trace it. Storytelling has always been the biggest form of connection in human culture. That's it.
yeah.
Storytelling, but it's a different way to do it, and it's evolved over time. So
Mm,
huge things to connect with people was sitting around a campfire and telling Dreamtime stories and all that kind of stuff. And then it evolved into music when people started
mm,
telling cultural stories through music and paintings and artworks. And then photography came out in what the 20s or something like that, black and white photography. And it was just showing what people looked like. And then
mm,
storytelling became in feature films was huge, but they didn't have
mm.
any audio. All this stuff just slowly evolved. And in the last, since smartphones, since everything's come up, like when I started making filmmaking, it was still DVDs. I was showing everyone DVDs, going to their house. People were still sitting around the couch, communicating as a family, watching group stuff, kind of stuff. And like people can bitch and moan. I love watching Gogglebox because it's still that old form of how people
I have
communicate.
never watched it.
It's literally just how I remember watching TV as kids. Is all the
Yeah.
family members would sit around and get forced to watch something,
Yeah.
and you just comment on it the entire time.
Commentate on it. Yeah.
You never even watched the show. No one's silent through it. You just like bitching and moaning the whole time. And
Nice.
me and my family still try to do that occasionally. Just put on something that's crap, and we just talk through the entire thing.
Amazing.
But that's another form of like storytelling because we're making our own stories about something else. It's the same thing as
Mm,
sport. People like getting involved in the story and the players, everything like that. But there was a huge shift when social media came out that photography was the easiest form of social media
Mm,
storytelling then. One, because photos were easy to capture, data was a lot slower back then, so it was easy to
yeah.
put that up. Putting videos up, internet couldn't even handle it. There wasn't even a platform for it. You had to. I remember when Facebook didn't even have a video platform; they had to link you
Yeah.
to YouTube, and
That's
then they were
right.
like, "We want to do our own one," and they disagree. They're like, no, you can't put YouTube, or we won't show it anywhere. And that's because they wanted to use their own form of video because it evolved. And
Mm,
video is now evolved to being the general consensus
mm,
of we want that information, we want that content. But I still believe there's this odd balance at the moment because the energy to put to make a video is
yeah.
quite hard compared to making a photo. So, and you could go and take 100 photos in a day, which would be almost a year's worth of content. If you
Yeah.
post once a day, 30 videos, sorry, it's 3 months, not a year's worth. But if you put 30
Ah,
photos up a month, then you
yeah.
got 3 months worth of content shown in one day. But it
Yeah.
takes you probably a quarter of a day to half a day to make a good video.
Mm,
And that's once. So pretty much you're trying to just chase your tail of making videos. People that know how to make videos can make them quite quickly, but business owners, marketing agencies, sometimes they don't have that skill set because they haven't been trained in it. And it
mm,
just freaks them out going, well, I'm wasting all this time. I can probably put up one video a week because that's all the time I have
yeah.
with all my other jobs. So it's going to evolve and video is becoming a high demand, but I think it's also the same way. I liked photos a lot more because you could instantly see it and move on quite quickly and you get the
Mm,
entire story. With videos now, if you're not engaging someone in 3 seconds,
yeah.
your video might be missed and all that effort's just gone out the window. So it's hard to get that engagement.
Well,
But
even like, if people are in a public place, are they even playing the video with sound? So, if you're kind of
and
mixing between video or image, you're like, I can't watch it anyway.
And that's the hardest thing because you
Mm,
basically got to figure out how are people going to watch this and how can I hold them? Because we
mm,
used to, and that's how I made my money as a filmmaker because I used to sit down with heaps of people, heaps of businesses would come to me going, I want to make this video. And I'd go, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's, as soon as I hear I
Get back
want
down.
something, I'm like, this is not the video you need. Because we
Mm,
had these 5 questions, and I can run through these really quickly if need be, but we had 5 questions that pretty much made my film career in running my own production company. It was like, first, the biggest question, which is always the foundation of every video, is who's watching your video? Because, and I used to try to make it into one person. A lot of businesses know the customer avatar. And some
mm.
of my most hated things on social media is when people say, hey, Facebook world, because you're kind of neglecting everybody. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just like, who the is all this
Hi,
every I'm,
internet.
I'm sitting on the toilet by myself watching a video. Who else am I watching this video with?
Yeah.
Um, and I actually learnt it from radio presenters as well, because radio presenters never say, hey, everyone, I have a new song for you all. They say,
Mm,
hey, I have a new song for you. And that makes you go, even
mm.
though they're talking to the masses, they're addressing one person. And
Wow.
that's, and
I
it makes,
never thought of that before. That's so cool.
literally, if people do that with their videos, you feel more connected and you feel
Yeah.
more intrigued that they're talking to me. And like heaps of those fake magicians that do it on, like they're always trying to make you feel like they're doing a trick on you, but it's all mathematics stuff. But it
Yeah.
makes you feel way more engaged. That he's like, he can't be talking to me. He can't be doing magic on me because he doesn't know me and he's not even
Mm,
there. So that's the whole magic behind it. But if you can say address an individual while talking to the masses,
hmm.
really hits home for most videos if you can do it. It takes a little bit of training to do,
Yep.
but it's one. So who's your audience is usually my first one.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm trying to remember. I haven't done this for a while now. Um, what are you going to make? Is the big thing. Oh, sorry,
Yep.
no. Who? Why? Why is that?
Right.
Why are you making a video?
Yep.
So, what's your purpose? Because if you don't have a reason to make it, it's going to flop on its ass. If you don't have a sales pitch at the end or a call to action or anything if your purpose is just to entertain someone,
Mm,
great, entertain someone. Do if that's all it is. If it is to make someone laugh, that's a purpose. If it is to
mm.
make a sale, if you're trying to get people through your door, whatever it is, if you're trying to be an influencer, get people to buy something so you can make money off the other company, you've
Yep.
got to have a direct way. And there is sneaky ways to sell without selling. That's a whole nother thing. The third question is what? What are you going to make? So who are you addressing? Why are you making a video? What are you going to make? So what type of video? Because there's so many different types of videos. So
Yep.
with those two foundations, what would be the best? The next two are really interesting, and they can kind of flip on their heads differently. But how are you going to make money from this is usually because we teach businesses. So
Yep.
how is this going to help you?
Mm.
And usually how to make money. And we have a whole sales pitch of how you can make money through video. We could be here for hours if I try to do that. That's a whole other thing. And the final thing is, where are you going to put it? And the where can actually change a lot of the first 4 questions because it changes the format. And if you need to make more than one, because if you're going to do it on YouTube, it needs to be a horizontal video. If you're going to be on Instagram, it needs to be a vertical reel, all this kind of stuff. So they change all the time. But if you don't address those 5 questions, really your video is just going to flop. So we just tell all our audiences to think about who your audience is, why you're making a video, what are you going to make, how's it going to benefit you, and where's it going to go? And if you think about those questions straight away, you usually do quite well.
Yeah, well, I love that so much because I'm pretty sure the thought process that goes into most people's minds is, oh, I've got to post a reel every day or I'm not going to get anywhere.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure that's the non-question that everyone asks themselves.
I've got people that don't even post on social media. So this is going back to, and I know we're backtracking here, but going back to the real estate agent, I convinced him not to make Facebook videos.
Nice.
And because he was like, I just want to be on Facebook. And I literally went to the first question. I was like, who's your audience? He's like, everybody. And I was like, no. First of all, cut that shit out. That's
if anybody has answered that, you are wrong.
You are wrong. To be honest, I've got a fake person in my head that I sell to because it's my target audience, and like 35 to 45-year-old women. So I've got a 37-year-old woman that has started her first business. Her name's Sarah. That is my target audience. And
Sarah sounds awesome.
Yeah, Sarah's awesome. And she's just got 2 kids that have just gone off to high school and they're doing their own thing. So she doesn't have to worry about them anymore. And she started her first business. She's like, I've got time. But she didn't know how to do social media. So this is someone I've made up in my head. But every time I talk, and when I was saying address one person, I'm always thinking of Sarah when I talk to the camera. Even though that I never say her name or her gender or what she does, I'm talking to her. That's the person in my head. And I've made a fake image of this person. She's quite attractive, but that's
shocking. I am shocked.
You've got to make someone imaginary. That's what I was doing. But yeah, and that worked well. For the real estate agent,
just decided that Chris Hemsworth is my audience. Sorry, I digress.
To be honest, I've done that with somebody else and they thought of Ryan Gosling and it made them stutter through their entire video. They're like, oh my God.
All right, okay.
Oh my God, it didn't work.
I retract that.
But with a real estate agent, we realized that his target audience was people buying and selling houses, which happens once or twice in somebody's lifetime. Very rarely that happens. So but he's like, if I address it all Facebook, I'll find those people. I was like, no. I was like, where is your key audience? And we're like, where do we find those people? We realized that people buying and selling houses, really going off the people that are buying houses, because once he got the commission, he's just trying to sell it. And the people that are going to open houses, those people are usually finding those open houses and walking through because that buyer has to be looking in that specific area, in that specific town anyway. He's not going to find that on Facebook. So we basically decided he wanted his whole reason, the why, was he wanted to personally connect with buyers. So he looked a little bit more professional. He didn't want to look like just a sleazy salesman. He wanted to have a personal connection. So what we decided to do, and the what video came after that, and so did the how and where, but this kind of all formed into one, was that we told him after every open house, he wasn't allowed to run off to another open house. He wasn't allowed to just piss off and just go to the next one and try to sell the next one at an open house. We told him, what do the buyers usually give you at the open house every single day? They give their name, their email, and their phone number. We just told him he needed to send a video to every single text number. So he would record a video of him walking through the house saying, oh, hi, Sam and Steve. My name's Jared. I just met you at the front door of the house. Sorry I couldn't walk through. Been amazing just meeting you. If you have any personal questions, I'm here to answer any questions. I'm happy to give you a personalized walkthrough. Thanks so much. He usually have a script.
This is incredible. I love this. Yeah.
And he was struggling to sell 6 houses at the point we helped him, and he sold all 6 within 3 months. Just doing that personal connection. Now, I believe that was because of me, but there might have been some other factors. The market might have changed, but
no, but it's so cool. And I love, like, I guess there's different levels here, right? So when we first started the conversation, I was just thinking about video for social, like, because I guess that's kind of where I play. But I'm just thinking, as a business owner, if you are sending personalized videos to your customers or potential customers, that's huge. Like, it's obviously an investment in your time, but the payoff could be very interesting.
But you can automate a lot of that stuff now. There's a company called Bonjoro that I work with a lot. They're actually in Brisbane as well, so they're awesome.
Cool.
But they're worldwide now. But they do personalized email videos that you get a trigger. So if someone buys from your website, it can come to you and saying, or they've subscribed to your course, or they've done something, you can say, hey, it comes up with their name. Hey, Simon, thanks so much for purchasing my course. Really appreciate it. And like cool. Saying, hey, Simon, to somebody on their video, they're like, oh my God, this guy wrote, and I was doing it to every ticket holder that purchased a ticket to my workshops. And I would get every single time I was at the workshop, everyone's like, you didn't need to send me a video, but that was so nice of you. And I was like, yeah, no, I wanted to connect with you. That was me 10 seconds. It took me.
I am literally stealing this idea. It is
so good. They're great. No, it's really good and they're awesome, but it's just making that personal connection because people feel like they can reach out to you. And a lot of CEOs and a lot of business owners don't do that. And I understand time is a huge factor, but having a connection at the start and then even passing it on to a staff member still feels like they're able to be part of the bigger picture of the company. And I know we're thinking business here, but influencers, all that kind of stuff, and I'm not saying anything bad because they do such an amazing job, but they are trying to influence so many people without making a personal connection. And personal connection is the only way to sell. You don't pitch to 1,000 people hoping to get that 10%. It does work, but you realize that 90% of going, didn't really like that guy. I didn't like their sales pitch.
Yeah.
If you find the audience that are willing to pay that 10%, if you know that 10% and you make a personal connection with them, that's 100% sales instead of trying to reach out to 1,000 people. It's different ways to make money.
Totally. And that's really interesting because a lot of influencers / creators do kind of get hung up on the fact that they need millions of followers to make an impact. And in the old model where influencers just made money out of sponsored posts, obviously, yes, the more followers they have, the more they can charge. But a lot of them are getting tired of just going on that hamster wheel of chasing sponsored posts. So they are looking at, how do I create a business and monetize my influence that way? And I love this idea that they need to get their heads around serving a small targeted group of people in a really highly personalized way.
Well, you're right on the money there, but it is also this whole thing of understanding what you're selling and the value of what you're selling to people, which people just don't understand. And it's one of the hardest things for a lot of business owners to get over. It's just going, the gin tonic's starting to make me burp as well.
That's fine. We're friends now. It's all good.
I've been selling it very hard, but people just get uncomfortable about actually going, my value, my worth, and who's willing to pay for it. But that's all the validation stuff that I was saying at the start that I love doing, is figuring out if people are willing to pay for it. And people get really nervous about getting rejected and being said no to. And I usually and this is usually the way that we do the sales pitching, is basically you can get 20 no's. The one yes that you get is huge. I say it's the same thing as my dating life. If I get one yes, I'm very excited. I usually have to present it to a lot of people because everyone's like, nah, I'm good, which is fine.
But it's such a good point, because so I do, so my other business, Spark, we do sales training for female founders. And that's one thing we teach is, so if you think about it, if you have a conversion rate of 10%, then 90% of the time people are saying no.
Exactly.
You've got to get used to it. It doesn't mean anything. Like you can always improve it and you can always optimize and get better and better, but there will always be people that say no.
But people have a fear of rejection, which I
Mm,
completely understand. Being
mm,
rejected, but it is not a bad thing. And this is the way
mm.
door-to-door salesmen did so well, because those guys just were happy to go boom boom, no, not interested. Okay, that's fine. Sorry to bother you, and walk away. And that's,
Yeah,
you just have to be like, okay, that's fine. They might have been in the middle of a TV show. You don't know what was going on in their lives to say
totally.
no. If they're just probably not interested in buying, they probably just bought a crappier product from someone that's almost identical, and they can't spend that money. It
Yeah,
doesn't really matter. You're
yeah.
looking for the people that would say yes. And if you get 100% no's, then you know it's not a business. You know you can't make money. Because I've had
Mm.
6 failed businesses in the past because I
Nice.
didn't do that validation stage. I didn't do
Yeah.
that. I was like, oh, this is an amazing idea. Oh, people are willing to pay for this. This is awesome. One was capturing grandparents' stories. So, like filming old people, making a documentary about them so that they would last forever. You could show their grandkids. But we found out that a lot of people weren't willing to spend, because our videos were 2.5 grand at that point. People weren't
Mm,
willing to spend 2.5 grand on somebody that they were taking care of anyway, and they were trying to
mm,
save up for their holiday. And they were like, "Oh, we could do it a year down the track when they're a little bit older. It's okay. We've got
mm,
expenses and bills to pay." We didn't do that validation stage. We just made the business and thinking it was going to work,
mm.
and it didn't. So
It is so important. I could not agree with you more in terms of validation. The
yeah.
biggest thing because I've done the same thing. I've made products, I've spent thousands of dollars on developing stuff only for no one to want it. And so I finally realized that I had to sell it first. I was like, make someone give me money and then I'll go scramble and build it.
It's why you build prototypes. It's why you test
Yeah.
them up and all that stuff. And to be honest, if you want to kind of relay this into the people listening to this as well,
Mm,
same thing as all your videos. You've got to put crap videos out there that
yes.
people are going to say, that was crap. But don't feel bad that it was a bad video. Just be like,
Mm,
oh, that one didn't work. We've got to
yeah.
figure out what else to make. And that's the validation stage of figuring out the formula for you, for your brand, for your clients, brands, all that kind of stuff.
That is so good. So then tell me, if I'm the type of person that hates, as you can tell, I hate being on screen, but a lot of people don't love it. So
Yeah.
tell me, how do I get over that? If I'm
Well,
not putting out videos because I don't want to be in them or on them, what do I do?
that's a huge thing. Well, to be honest, I'm one of those people. I hated
I
it.
do not believe you.
Yeah, well, okay. So the first thing I wanted to do when I was a kid was be an actor. I was like, because I just wanted to be in the movie business. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, cool, movies. This is so cool. I loved, like, Lion King was my favorite thing, which I actually
Mm,
didn't think was a cartoon when I was a kid. I thought that was real life. That was
of
my
course.
weird
I still
childhood
do.
brain going on.
Yeah.
I was like, how do lions talk? I don't understand this. But I hate it. Like, as soon as all of a sudden I hate public speaking, I hated being, and I still do
Mm,
hate it, to be honest. I have a little tiny fear about it. When I
mm,
first started Tap It Go, when I was thinking about starting it as a brand, I had been behind the camera my entire career. I
yeah.
like never was in the front of it. I was always behind it. I always hired actors. I always had presenters, hosts, all
Mm,
that kind of stuff that were way better at it than me. And I was talking about the brand, I was talking about starting it, and then I was like literally talking to my business coach, still one of my closest friends. I was like, oh yeah, I'll just do voiceovers and I'll do hand stuff just so I don't have to be on camera. I just don't like presenting that way. And he's like, he literally just sat me down. I'm going to swear, I apologize to the audience. He
bring it
just went, "Are
on.
you fucking kidding me, man?" He's just like, get on camera. You're way too good. You're way too confident. Just be on camera. It doesn't
Mm,
matter. Like,
mm,
people want to see you. You're the expert. You need to
mm,
be in front of camera. But I realized in all this training that I had, I realized that there was a huge fear that every single person has a fear of being on camera.
mm,
Unless you grow up with it, unless you have the comfortability around it, people don't understand. And I actually worked out that there's a very particular reason why our generation that wasn't in front of cameras hated being on cameras as adults. And the main reason is because of a mirror. So having a mirror in front of you,
mm.
literally, you've never seen yourself with your own two eyes. You've
Yes.
only seen reflections or recordings of yourself. You can't
Yep.
take your eyeballs out and look at yourself. So most of the way that we see ourselves is a reflection, a mirrored version. But the
Yep.
weird thing is, if you actually have a mole on the right hand side of your face, when you're looking at it, it's on the
Yep.
left hand side. It's a mirrored version. It's an opposite. So you're
Wow.
watching that and you're going, oh, sweet, great. And this is how my work. Very few people, like very, very, very few people are completely symmetrical. It's a super
Mm,
normal thing to be completely
mm.
symmetrical. Almost everybody has a very odd adjustment on their face. So when
Yes.
you see a recording of yourself, it's the opposite of what you've normally seen, the real version, the mirrored version. And your
Wow.
brain just goes into this malfunction of going, that's,
That's
no,
not me. I don't
that's
look
not
like
me.
that.
But I don't look like that. That's not right. I don't like that.
Uh,
All this kind of stuff. It's the same as your voice. Everybody has says
mm.
when they hear a playback of their voice,
Oh my God, I hate the sound of my voice recorded. I'm like so
and
nasal.
the reason for that, there is a specific reason for that. So
Mm.
every single person is hearing two bits of audio. They're hearing their voice being projected, rebounding and coming back into their ears, but then they're hearing the vibration of their chest. So if you block your ears, you can
Yep.
still hear your chest. That is one channel of
Wow.
audio coming in.
Yeah.
So your whole body's, for your entire life, you're hearing two bits of audio and going, that's the way I sound.
Yeah.
In my head, that's exactly the way I sound. And when I heard
Mm.
my voice first time on radio, I sounded exactly like my little brother, who I love to death, but I also think he's a wanker. And I was like, oh my God, I sound like, I laugh exactly like him. We sound like, if you heard us on the phone, you wouldn't know who's who. And I
That's
was like, oh my
hilarious.
God, I sound exactly like him. And I just went into freak mode. But then I
Mm.
realized that is who I sound like. And I say this to everybody in my workshop. Who here likes going, having drinks with their friend, just one-on-one with a friend, having a beer, having a coffee, whatever it is? How good is that? And everyone's like,
Mm.
love it, love it. And I go, do you know that they can see you? Do you know that they can hear your voice? That's how you look and sound to the rest of the world. Only you care
Wow.
about that opposite version that doesn't
Mm.
look comfortable. Trust
Mm.
me, everybody knows how you sound and look, and they're okay with it. Unless everyone's pointing and laughing at you every single day, it's fine. Being on
Wow.
camera, it's very easy. But like in saying that, everyone has that light bulb moment going, oh yeah, I totally get it.
Yes.
But people are still uncomfortable and they look
Mm.
uncomfortable on camera, which is
Yeah.
completely fine. And we have tips and tricks. And if we have time, I could probably give you a few. But we realized that people being on camera, the reason that the younger generation are so good at being on camera
Yeah.
is because they have been in front of camera the entire time. And what we say
Yeah.
to people, it's the same thing as driving. We all remember driving for the first time and how
Mm.
much we were all crapping our pants.
Yes.
Getting in a car, getting on the road or a
Getting
highway.
on the freeway. Oh my
Oh
God.
my God, I'm gonna die! Driving the car off to the road, just going, oh
Oh
my God, I'm gonna kill somebody. I'm going 80 kilometers an hour, kind of thing.
no.
But now, after a period of time, I'm literally sitting in the highway, just going, oh, kind of
I'm
on
like, I didn't even
autopilot.
remember how I got home. Like, just
Yeah.
autopilot.
Exactly. You're going from one stage to the other, going, how the hell did I get here? I don't even remember. You're talking on the phone with
Mm.
people on headsets. You're listening to
Yeah,
music. You're listening to a podcast, like this podcast maybe, and
absolutely.
digesting heaps of information. But
Yeah,
you're on autopilot. The actual action of doing it, you've done it
yeah,
so much, it's fine. So we
yeah.
say to people, being on camera, you just have to start doing it. It's like the first
Mm.
time you start driving. It's going to feel very uncomfortable at the start. It's going to feel very awkward. You're going to make mistakes. You might crash into a wall. It's completely fine if you do that. Just shake it off. You can buy another car. It's okay.
Okay, we're not condoning that.
You're not. Well, I
At
might
least
have
you
done that
can
in the
delete the video and record it again.
past. Exactly. It's you've got way more flexibility, and like to be honest, you can re-watch it, and you can see
Yes,
if you looked bad or whatever you want. But
totally.
we just tell people like it's okay if you're not an amazing driver. You just
Mm.
have to drive from A to B. You have to
Yes.
get there, or you're going back to the start. And
Well,
it's
and also I think your perception of what's good and what everybody else's perception of what's good is completely different as well. Like,
exactly.
you could sit there and perfect and perfect and perfect, and the video totally flop. But, you rock up in no makeup, just say whatever you say and post it, and then it just goes crazy and everyone loves it because you've just been real.
And this is the thing. I've told so many people. As much as people say there's a formula for we've got the formula for video. I'm like, you might have it for now, but again,
Mm,
it's going to change. It's going to evolve. No one's knowing what's going to happen and how it's
yeah.
going to work. And it's just
Yeah.
about being confident and looking confident on camera. And we say, fake it till you make it with being
Yeah.
on camera.
Mm,
Just like one of the biggest things. So, like, we have like 15 tips about being on camera. I can't go through all of them, but I've got some of the few ones. One of my favorite ones is, and this is something that I learned as a public speaker as well, is people have a fear of making mistakes. They have such a big fear. If they stumble and they make a mistake, everything's gone. And we've all seen it. And someone talking on stage, their start of their speech is amazing because they've rehearsed it 1,000 times, that first part, not rehearsed the end of it because they're like, they got through the entire speech once and they're like, oh, sweet. But they got through one part of the speech, and as soon as they make a mistake, they start declining. And you can see them start freaking out and they start getting worse and worse.
Like the deer in the headlights, like, oh God.
And the reason for that is everyone sits there and they're listening, they're sitting on the podium, they make a mistake. They're like, I have 6 great tips for you. And they stumble and they correct themselves. But what's going in their brain and the audio that's going in their head is going, you
idiot.
You idiot. Oh, everyone's looking at you. You know you're stuffed up. $20 says you're going to stuff. Oh, look at you. You just stuffed up again, idiot. And they just keep going on a trajectory of really bad. And when because I had an acting coach that's a really close friend. I used to live with them. They gave me these tips. And they said, look, if you stuff up, point it out. Like, make sure everyone knows that it's okay and move on. So the very first time I ever did a workshop, I had tips for being on camera, and I said tits, T-I-T-S instead.
Stop it.
My mum was in the audience as well at that time, and I was like, oh, tits for being on, and I was just like, oh my God, I said this. And only 5 people in the corner very close to me heard it, and they kind of giggled, and everyone else in the audience just went, did he just, I'm not sure if he did. So I literally just went and I stopped my talk and I just went, sorry guys, I just said tits instead of tips. Everyone laughed and we moved on, and that was it. Nice. So that mistake was done and dusted. It's now in the past. Let's keep going. And I've taken that through everything that I do. I've sworn on stage accidentally, pointed it out. Everyone's giggled. And when I'm the most nervous, I make a lot of mistakes, but I just point it out and I'm like, I've been shaking on stage, and I show everyone. I'm like, look, I'm shaking. I'm so nervous, and everyone laughs and giggles, and we move on. Yes. It's just, you have to be confident to make mistakes, especially on live videos, all that kind of stuff. It's fine.
The biggest thing that I find is that the people in the audience, so whether it's live or whether it's on video, is it's the people in the audience are actually in awe of the fact that you have got the guts to stand up there. So they overlook all that stuff. So the shaking, the mistakes, the whatever, they just are like, you could have made like 1,000 mistakes, and they just afterwards they're like, oh my God, you were so good. How did you get up there? How did you do that? Because they're going, I couldn't do it. So they think that you're amazing.
I believe everyone can. It's just because it's literally fear. Everyone just has that fear. And it's the fear about making videos. It's a fear of everything, which is completely fine. If you're going to let that fear, you don't want to do it. You want to pay somebody else to do it. And this is probably one of the biggest things for your influencers. We had a client of ours, he didn't want to make videos. He was like, no. He sent a 20, oh no, she's now 20, but she was 16 when she came and did our workshop. She's like, my boss just forced me to come do this workshop. She's like, I'm pretty good at videos, so I can, and I was like, I literally sat her down and I was like, can you please make sure that you're on every single video? And within a year, can you make a video a year every single week? And within a year, can you just call me? I gave her my personal number. I was just like, call me. And she was 17. She called me and she's like, oh, our audience has reached this. And she was bragging about it. I'm like, cool. Can you go to your boss now and ask for a crap load more money? And she was like, what? And I was like, go ask for a 200% raise. Yeah. Double your money. And if he says no, walk out the door.
Absolutely. And you like that girl has just given him all of that IP, done all of that work. Yep. Holy crap.
Well, it wasn't even that, because they were wanting that every single time. And he thought that he could pay a 16-year-old the same wage for being on camera. And he didn't want to be on camera, which is completely fine. But now he has to pay a talent fee to her. Yeah. Which, this is what I'm saying. I'm like, you're now the talent. You now have a respect by the audience that you're going to be on camera. If he loses that, he's going to lose sales. So he's going to pay money to keep you. And matter of fact, she got paid double straight away when she was 17,
Oh my God.
her wage.
That is incredible.
I think she was getting paid $46 an hour at the end of it, like as a
Wow.
17-year-old. So she was very happy with
Oh
that.
my God. That is so good. All right. Well, we're coming to time now. So I guess, what have I got left for you? So talked about showing up on camera, but I mean, what if we're still, we know the power of video, we know we've got to do it, we know that we've got to get over our fear. Are there any tips just to make it that next level easy to get some videos out ASAP?
Well, look, it's yes and no. There's so many different levels, because again, we're going back to those things of what type of videos you're going to make. Because if you want professional video, but I always just tell people, it's not about the type of video you make. It's about how it's actually going to benefit you, because you need to actually spend the time figuring it out, sitting down, if it's going to make you money, because video takes a crap load of time. And everyone's sitting there going, oh, I need to make videos because we've been told.
The algorithm, that's the reason.
Algorithm tells us to make videos. We need to do this. We need, I'm like, you don't need to do anything. Time is your money and your effort. If you could make, I say to every business owner, if money was flowing in and you had to do zero, like you could just sit on the couch, would you prefer to do that? And they're like, yes. I'm like, well, let's figure out where the money's coming from first, because so you don't waste your time and your money. So there's heaps of things that you can do until you test it as well. So we do tell people to make videos, get yourself out there, figure it out if you'd like. And there's different things to try, but we don't know if it's actually going to make you money, because if you're selling something that doesn't really sell well from your audience on social media, then you're wasting your time. All I would say, if your social media following is all your current purchases, so we've currently got a winery, then what they do is they just drink wine and talk to their current clients about how good this wine is with this meal, and the people go and make that meal. That's their social media audience. They're not trying to say, buy this wine and this wine's the best and it palates like this, and all the people that are following on social media know that, and they literally go, let's just sit down and drink wine together. And they just do live videos. They just sit there, drink wine and eat and answer questions, and that's it. And they do really well with just, oh my God, but that they sell bottles cool at $140 a bottle. So they're a very small boutique winery. It's not trying to sell to the masses. They know who their audience are, and they make these live videos to really engage.
That is so cool. I love that so much. I think that I want to change my career and do that for a living.
It's a good career. And to be honest, it's a good client to have, because they send us free bottles. I literally got to ship
Oh my God, that's the dream.
And we take photos for them and do stuff. And they're like, here's some bottles, go take some. I'm like, great. And I just sip away. I sent them a photo of me drinking out of their actual bottle, and they kind of got upset at me once, because I thought it was a hilarious photo for social media. They did not think it was funny.
Oh my God. I love it so much. And that's awesome. And I think, I think the biggest thing for me, so I've been taking notes furiously, is, really coming back to the why you're creating video in the first place, where it's going to live, whether it's actually going to make any money, like really analyzing it first and putting some thought into it, not just appeasing the algorithm gods. I think that's super cool.
Well, yeah. And it's a big thing. It's like, maybe if we have time in the near future, we'll do another podcast on how to make money from videos, because we have a whole thing about that. Because it's once you understand that and understand your pattern, it's way more confident, and you realize spending the time and effort in making videos, if you know that there's going to be dollars at the end of it, you're like, sweet, I'm happy to spend time and effort doing this. If I know that it's going to make me money, it's totally worth it. So yeah.
I love it. Well, Wes, thank you. Cheers to you for coming on the Creator Economy Show. It's been an absolute pleasure and so much fun, and I appreciate your time.
It's good. I have a little buzz going on now. I'm going to make myself another drink.
Perfect. I love it.
Awesome. Thanks so much.